Starting as a pilot during the First World War, Richard Ryan later continued his association with aviation as a flying instructor, airline company administrator, and then as manager of a British Commonwealth Air Training Plan station during the Second World War. In over 20 years of service with Canadian Pacific Airlines, he helped develop the company's international service. Richard Dick Ryan was born in Huron County, Ontario, on November 11, 1896, and attended a one-room school at Niall, Ontario, near Goderich. In 1916, while attending the University of Toronto, he enlisted for infantry training in the First World War with the University Officers Overseas Training Corps, and in 1917 answered a call for volunteers to serve in the Royal Naval Air Service, but upon arriving in England, he transferred to the Royal Flying Corps. The primitive Farman Shorthorn gave Dick his first flying experience, and with the rank of lieutenant in the RFC, he was soon flying the Sopwith Pup from the training base at Thetford. At age 20, he had earned his pilot's wings in the Royal Flying Corps and was then posted to RFC No. 66 Squadron in France. The squadron was equipped with the famous Sopwith Camel aircraft, which Dick soon mastered in regular and aerobatic performance. Posted to Italy with his Camel, Dick wrote on the back of this photograph, "I am in my own machine. Note the guns in front." While in Italy, Dick Ryan survived a mid-air crash in his Sopwith Camel and landed safely with the propeller missing and the engine not working. Dick survived the crash, physically uninjured, but was hospitalized to recover from the trauma, then returned to flying as an instructor. His photographs from the First World War provide a rare look at early flying machines and the aviators who flew them, such as the rare single-seater Bristol monoplane designed in 1916, one of the first aircraft to use only a single wing. One of Dick's priceless photos shows Lieutenant Jock Palmer, who would become known as the grandfather of Alberta aviation and who was inducted into Canada's Aviation Hall of Fame in 1988. Before the First World War was over, the Royal Air Force had been formed, and Dick was now an officer in the RAF and trained on float planes while his return home was delayed. So in 1919, he signed up for a British expeditionary force, sailing on the HMS Narana, carrying ferry seaplanes to Murmansk, Russia, north of the Arctic Circle. The expedition was short-lived with little flying, but provided Dick the opportunity to take pictures in northern Russia, including this group he described as a lineup of Bolshevik prisoners in 1919. Dick Ryan returned to Canada in 1919 as a member of the No. 1 Squadron of the Canadian Air Force. When the Royal Canadian Air Force was formed in 1924 and offered him a commission, he declined, having finished a Bachelor of Arts degree at the University of Toronto and starting a new career in teaching, first in a small rural Saskatchewan school and then with Ross Collegiate in Moose Jaw. In 1924, Dick Ryan and Marjorie Breton were married in Moose Jaw after first meeting in 1922. Back in the air, he earned his instructor's license and became the instructor for the Moose Jaw Flying Club. And in 1930, he served as events manager for the city's first air show, a resounding success that saw 15,000 people coming to watch the performance of 28 aircraft. In 1930, Marjorie and Dick became parents, and in 1931, he became manager of the Moose Jaw Flying Club. In 1932, Dick completed a Master of Arts degree from the University of Alberta. In 1937, the Moose Jaw Flying Club formed a charter company, Prairie Airways Limited, and Dick Ryan became a director. Within 2 years, the new company needed a full-time manager and hired Dick, who then resigned from teaching after 15 years in the classroom. During the Second World War, Prairie Airways formed Prairie Flying School Limited to operate No. 3 Air Observer School at Regina for the British Commonwealth Air Training Plan. Dick Ryan became the manager, and as civilian manager of No. 3 Air Observer School was in charge of the school's operations at Regina and at Pierce, Alberta, until the school closed in 1943. When the Air Observer School closed, Dick began work with Canadian Pacific Airlines as supervisor of Western operations and was soon appointed General Superintendent of Western Lines to consolidate service. Working with President Grant McConaughey, who was inducted into Canada's Aviation Hall of Fame in 1974, Dick worked at expanding routes nationally and internationally. Starting with Douglas DC-3 aircraft for passenger service in Canada, the airline soon needed larger aircraft for service across the Pacific to Europe and Central America, and Dick Ryan was involved in providing service for travelers to reach new and faraway destinations for the airline. In 1951, Dick was appointed as Vice President of Canadian Pacific Airlines, and he was there when the company moved into the jet age in 1961 with its first Douglas DC-8 jetliners. Dick retired in 1961, staying on the board of directors until 1965, moving to Penticton, British Columbia, where at the age of 92 in 1988, he enjoyed seeing a Sopwith Camel replica, an aircraft he had flown as a young pilot with the Royal Flying Corps over 70 years earlier. Dick Ryan died on November 17, 1992, at his home in British Columbia, predeceased by Marjorie in 1984 and survived by his daughter Beverly. Richard W. Ryan was inducted as a member of Canada's Aviation Hall of Fame at ceremonies held at the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum on May 26, 2011.